Good morning, children. Sai Ram. I welcome you all to the online class of economics. Children, today I am going to start the next chapter of our book, that is chapter number 8, and the name of our chapter is Short Run Equilibrium Output. Children, in the previous video, we have finished up our chapter number 7, in which we have learned uh, the concept of aggregate demand, aggregate supply, consumption functions, saving functions, consumption equations, saving equations. Thereafter, we have solved a few numericals. Now, today we are going to start this next chapter, that is chapter number 8, and we are going to learn today the concept of short run, thereafter, concept of equilibrium output, that is GDP, and determination of equilibrium output, that is ED and ES approach and SI approach, and a shift in equilibrium, that is impact of additional investment, and at very last we will learn investment multiplier and its mechanism. Children, from the exam point of view, this chapter is very important because it covers up the major theoretical as well as the numerical aspects, the numerical part of this unit. Now let us start with the first topic, that is concept of short run. Children, what you understand by short run? Children, in macroeconomics, short run is defined as a period of time during which technology plays no role in the determination of output in the economy. It is assumed to be remain constant. Children, output is determined exclusively by the level of employment in an economy. Higher level of employment leads to higher level of output and vice versa. As I just said, technology remains constant here, and there is one-to-one relationship between output and employment. Thus, if employment is doubled, output will also be doubled. Or, in other words, we can say that the level of employment in an economy measures the level of output, that is GDP, in the economy. And accordingly, output cannot increase once there is full employment in the economy. Now, children, let us learn the concept of equilibrium output. Children, equilibrium output, we can also call as equilibrium GDP or equilibrium income, refers to that level of income in an economy where AD is equals to ES. I mean, aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. Children, equilibrium is also struck when savings is equals to investment. I mean, S is equals to I. Children, we know that in a simple two sectors economy, the equilibrium is struck when AD is equals to aggregate supply. I mean, aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. The components of aggregate demand in two sectors economy is C plus I, whereas aggregate supply is always equal to C plus S. Now, when we taking C as common in both the sides, we get the equilibrium equilibrium position, which is also struck when savings becomes equal to S. I mean, when we are taking C as a common, we left S is equals to I, which is the another position of equilibrium for an economy. Children, aggregate demand, I have already explained you. What is aggregate demand? Aggregate demand refers to the level of GDP that the buyers wish to buy during an accounting year, which is also called as ex ante AD. Now, children, here ex ante means the planned aggregate demand. I mean, this the economy are planning to buy at a given level of income during a period of an accounting year. Now, aggregate supply is what? Aggregate supply refers to the desired level of output in an economy. It is the level of GDP that the producers wish to produce or plan to produce during an accounting year, which we also called as ex ante savings. Children, according to the Keynesian theory, equilibrium conditions is generally stated in terms of aggregate demand and aggregate supply. An economy is in equilibrium when aggregate demand for goods and services is equal to aggregate supply during a given period of time. So equilibrium is achieved when ED is equals to AS. And what is the national income, children? National income refers to total money value of all the final goods and services produced by a company during a given period of time. So, as I just said, children, according to the Keynesian theory, equilibrium conditions is generally stated in terms of aggregate demand and aggregate supply. An economy is in equilibrium when aggregate demand for various goods and services is equal to aggregate supply during a period of time. So, children, equilibrium is achieved when ED is equals to ES, and ED is the sum total of consumption and investment, because these are the two components of aggregate demand, whereas aggregate supply is equals to C plus S, which is C plus S. And when we are going to substitute it both the left hand side with the right hand side, we get C as a common in both the sides, and it left S is equals to I. This is the another mm, um, um, equilibrium position to strike. This is the another approach of striking an equilibrium position of an economy. So, children, basically there are two approaches for determining the equilibrium level. The first one is yours aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach, which we call as AD and AS approach, and the second is the saving and investment approach, which we call it SI approach. Now let us start with the first approach, that is aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach, which we call it AD and AS. So children, according to the Keynesian theory, the equilibrium level of income is determined when aggregate demand, which is represented by C plus I curve, is equal to the total output, that is aggregate supply. When ED is equals to AS, there will be an equilibrium position. Children, as you all know, aggregate demand comprises of the two components. The first one is your consumption expenditure, and second is your investment expenditure. Now, consumption expenditure is denoted with C, and it varies directly with the level of income. That is, consumption rises with increase in income, whereas investment expenditure is denoted with I, and it is assumed to be independent of the level of income. That is, investment expenditure is autonomous. Autonomous in the sense, if the income of an economy increases, then the expenditure of investment not increases. It remains autonomous. It remains same and constant at all the level of income in an economy. So, aggregate demand is represented by C plus I curve in the income determination analysis. Now, aggregate supply is what? Aggregate supply is the total output of goods and services of the national income, and it is depicted by a 45-degree line, since the income received is either consumed or saved. Therefore, aggregate supply curve is represented by C plus S curves. So the determination of equilibrium level of income can be understood with the help of the following schedule. Now we are going to take one schedule in which we will put up the values of income, consumption, and savings, and on behalf of this we will find out the aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Then we will compare the various conditions where aggregate demand becomes equal to aggregate supply. Now, children, this is schedule in front of you, and it is shown you uh, the figures by which aggregate demand becomes equal with aggregate supply at the various levels of income. So children, on the very left hand side we are taking employment in lakhs, and The second is income, which is representing with Y, thereafter consumption representing with C, savings representing with S, investment with I. And with these values, we will find out aggregate supply and aggregate demand. So, children, as previously we are taking the values same, like income is 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and 600, and the consumption is the same at zero level of income, it is 40, which is known as autonomous consumption, and it is denoted by C bar. And at 100 level of income, the consumption is 120, at 200 it is 200, at 300 level of income the consumption is 280, and so on, as you see in the slide. So children, with these two given values of income and consumption, we can easily find out savings. Saving is minus 40 at zero level of income, it is minus 20 at an income level of 100, it is 0 at the income of 200, and it now it increases, it becomes 20 rupees at the level of 300, 40 at the level of 400, and so on. So children, I have already explained you how we can find out the value of savings if income and consumption is given, and if how we can find out uh, the the value of consumption if income and savings is given. This I have already explained you. If you have any doubt, you can go to the previous videos and you can learn from there. Now, investment is autonomous, it remains constant in all the level of income. That is why we are taking the value of investment, that is 40 at all the level of income. So once you have the value of consumption, savings and investment, we can easily find out the value of aggregate demand, which is C plus I. Aggregate supply is always denoted with C plus S. Now when we find out aggregate demand, we will add consumption plus investment. So at zero level of income, the consumption is 40 and the investment is 40 again. Aggregate demand is rupees 80 at an income level of 40. At 100 it is 120 plus 40, it's 160. At 200 it is 200 plus 40, 240. At 300 level of income, the aggregate demand is 280 plus 20, that is 30. 280 plus 40, that is 320, and so on. The rest values of aggregate demand you can find out by yourself. Now when we are going to find out aggregate supply, we are applying a formula that aggregate supply is always equals to consumption plus saving. Now just see, at zero level of income the consumption is 40, whereas saving is minus 40. Therefore aggregate supply becomes 40 minus 40 is 0. At 100 level of income the consumption is 120, whereas saving is minus 20. So 120 minus 20, it becomes 100. And at 300 level of income the consumption is um, uh, 20, and and the saving is 0. Therefore the aggregate supply is 200 plus 0, it remains 200. At 300 level of income it is 280 and saving is 20. So 280 plus 20, it becomes 300. So children, one thing we are observing that the value of aggregate supply uh, itself is the value of income. I mean, whatever the value of income is, it is again the value of aggregate supply, because I have already explained you aggregate supply is always equal to the value of income. Now children, now when we have both the values of aggregate demand and aggregate supply, now we will compare here that at zero level of income, children, aggregate demand is more than aggregate supply. As soon as the income increases and the employment increases, aggregates demand becomes 160 and aggregate supply is 100 at an income level of 100. So here again the value of AD is more than the value of AS. So children, slowly gradually as the income increases, the ratio of differences between the aggregate demand and aggregate supply get decreases, the differences get decreases. Here, at as soon as the income of an economy increases, the aggregate demand increases as with the level of income. So as soon as the income increases to 400 rupees, the aggregate demand is again 400 and aggregate supply again remains 400, again becomes the value of 400. Now children, as you compare here that the aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply at an income level of 400. So children, this is a equilibrium point, whereas aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. It is called an equilibrium level of output. It is called an equilibrium output, equilibrium income, or equilibrium GDP, where aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. So an economy will be at equilibrium at an income level of 400 crore rupees, where aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. Now children, as soon as the employment increases, it definitely increases the income of an economy. And here at an income level of 500 rupees, the aggregate demand becomes less as compared with aggregate supply. So AD is less than aggregate supply at an income level of 100, and so on. So this is the way how we can find out the equilibrium level of income. You have to put up the values of income, and you have to choose the consumption expenditure also. Take the value of investment constant, find out the values of savings and aggregate demand and aggregate supply, and you can easily comes to know the equilibrium level of income by AD and AS approach. Now here children, in the slide just see the diagram how we are drawing. So children, the income, output and level, I mean the income we are plotting on the x-axis, which again shows an equilibrium output and equilibrium employment, whereas aggregate demand we are plotting on the y-axis. Children, you know very well an aggregate supply curve is going up from the starting point of origin, and makes an angle of 45-degree line. And the consumption curve is starting from the autonomous consumption, that is 40, which is representing by the M curve. The M curve is the aggregate demand curve, which is represented by C plus I. And here you watching children, the aggregate supply is intersecting an aggregate demand curve at E level. This E point and both these curves are intersecting each other, which is known as the equilibrium point, and this Y is known as the equilibrium level of an income in an economy. So children, now see the observation where aggregate demand is more than aggregate supply, that is before the equilibrium point. So children, when the planned aggregate demand, or we can say the planned is spending, that is AD, is more than the planned output, that is aggregate supply, then the aggregate demand, which is representing by C plus I curve, lies above the 45-degree line. It means that consumers are and firms together would be buying more goods than firms are willing to produce. I mean, the demand is more than the supply. I mean, the consumers or even the firms are demanding more what the firms are actually producing. So as a result, the planned inventory would fail below the desired level. Now the inventory will be less and the demand will be high. So to bring back the inventory back to the desired level, the firm would start to increase the employment. So children, here if the demand is more than the supply and the supply is less, then the economy is trying to increase the inventory by the way of increasing the employment level up to the level where it becomes where aggregate demand becomes equal to aggregate supply. So the firm would resort to increase the employment and output level until the economy is backed at output level OY, where AD becomes equal to aggregate supply and there is no further tendency to change. So children, that is why on the very left hand side we are taking the employment. If the demand is more than the supply, that is AD is more than aggregate supply, we keep on increasing the employment level of an economy up to the point where the AD becomes equal to AS. Now what happens children if AD is less than AS? So children, if AD is less than AS, that is just about the equilibrium point, then C plus I curve is below the 45-degree line. It means the consumers and firms together would be buying less goods that firms are willing to produce. So as a result, the planned inventory would rise. Would rise mean in essence the stock of an economy increases if there is not a demand in an economy. So to clear this unwanted increase in inventory, the firms plans to decrease the employment and output until the level it backs at the income level of OY, where AD becomes equal to AS and there is no further tendency to change. So children, when the planned inventory is more than the planned demand, it means when aggregate supply is more than the aggregate demand. Now what economy is doing in the what economy is doing, the economy is trying to reduce their employment as well as their output level up to a point where aggregate supply again becomes equal to aggregate demand. So children, that was the first approach of equilibrium level of output in an economy. Now we are going to learn the next approach of equilibrium, that is saving and investment approach. So children, according to this approach, saving and investment approach, the equilibrium level of income is determined at a level where planned saving, which is denoted with S, is equal to planned investment, that is I. So children, it is understood, so this approach will be well understood by taking a schedule first. Now income and consumption, the value of income and consumption, we are taking the same, that is 0, 100, 200, 400, 500, 600, and the value of income is 40, 120, 200, 280, 360, 440 and 520. Now with the help of this income and consumption, we can easily find out the value of savings. Saving is equal to Y minus C. Y is 0, 0 minus 40 is minus 40, 100 minus 120 it is minus 20 at income level of 100, and so on. So children, the same investment we are taking, that is the same at all the level of income in an economy, that is 40. So children, an equilibrium point under saving and investment approach can be struck when the savings become equal to investment. So children, once we get the value of savings and investment, we can easily find out the equilibrium level of income, whereas the savings becomes equal to investment. Now children, just see, at zero level of income, saving is more than investment. At 100 level of income, again the saving is more than investment, because the value of saving is minus 20 whereas investment is 40. So as soon as the income of an economy increases, the savings of our economy increases, and a point comes where savings become equal to investment. I mean, that is the equilibrium point where savings becomes equal to investment, and it will reach at income level of 400 crores, where the saving is 40 and the value of investment is 40, and at an income level of 500 crores children, the saving is 60 and investment is 40, which is more than the investment. So an economy will be strike equilibrium here under savings and investment approach at an income level of 400 crores, where savings and investment becomes equal with each other. Children, this we can easily draw up in one single in one single graph. Children, on the uppermost side, I have plotted aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach, whereas I have place the equilibrium level of income at an income level of 400 crores. It is a point where equilibrium where ED is equal to aggregate supply, and it is denoted at income at an E point. So at the downside, you just see there is saving and investment approach, whereas the income we are plotting on the x-axis and the saving and investment we are plotted on the y-axis. Now, children, as you all know, savings curve start from the negative intercept. I mean, it is starting from the negative values of savings. So as soon as the income increases, the value of saving increases, and from the negative it reaches to the x-axis, and also going up and denoted with the S curve, whereas the investment is autonomous and it is a horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. You just see here, children, the investment is horizontal straight line uh, just above of the x-axis. Now, one thing you are observing, children, this savings curves is intersecting the investment curve at a point E, which is an equilibrium point where savings is always equal to income. So, children, this is the equilibrium position under this approach. Now, there is a few observations, children. This investment curve that is representing with I is parallel to x-axis because of the autonomous character of the investments, and the saving curve S slopes upwards, showing that as income increases, saving also rises. So the economy is in equilibrium at point E, where savings and investment curves intersecting each other, and at a point E, x ante savings is equals to x ante investment. OY is the equilibrium level of output corresponding to point E. So, children, this is the equilibrium of level of income, that is 400 crores, where planned saving is equal to planned investment, that is for 40 crores. Now, children, again, take this observation what the economies does if the saving is more than investment. So, children, if the planned savings is more than the planned investment, that is after point E, it means that households are not consuming much as the firm expected them to. So, therefore, as a result, the inventory would rise above the desired level. So, to clear this unwanted increase in inventory, the firm would plan to reduce the production till savings and investment becomes equal to each other. Children, when saving is less than investments, uppermost part before the equilibrium arises. So if the planned saving is less than the planned investment, that is before the point E, children, it means that the household are consuming more and saving less than what the firms expected them to. I mean, the value of investment is more than the value of savings, and you all must be know I is representing an aggregate demand, whereas S is representing an aggregate supply. So if AD is more than aggregate supply, it means the households are consuming more what consuming more and saving less what the firm is actually expected them to. So therefore, as a result, the planned inventory would fall before the desired level. So again, to bring back the inventory, again to bring back the inventory back to the desired levels, the firm would plan to increase the production and production up to the point where savings and investments becomes equal to each other. So, children, this is the second approach of finding out the equilibrium position in an economy. So, children, I hope today's approach of finding the equilibrium position by AD and AS approach and savings and investment approach is clear to you, and In the next video, we will solve the numerical portions of this chapter, and we will cover up the next portions of this, the next topics of this chapter. So, children, today what we have learned is we have learned first uh, the the equilibrium position of an economy. We have understood that ED is representing with by C plus I in the two sectors economy, and aggregate supply is representing with C plus S. Furthermore, we have learned, children, um, according to the Keynesian theory, there are two approaches of calculating the equilibrium position of an economy, that is AD and AS approach, savings and investment approach. We have learned both these approaches by the help of a schedule, by the help of diagram, and by the help of explanation, where we will see the both conditions, where if AD is more than ES and if ES is more than AD, what will be the further step the economy should take to control back and strike back the equilibrium position. Same here for savings and investment. If savings is more than investment, what should an economy do? And if investment is greater than savings, what will be the step taken back to come back again the equilibrium position in an economy? So, children, I hope today's lecture will understand you both the approaches of calculating the equilibrium level of income in an economy, which we call as equilibrium output, which we call as equilibrium level of income. So, children, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and Sairam. Take care and Sairam.